there was, oh, another thing I apologize. It's impossible to talk about this stuff and refer to the past and not be, and particularly at my age, and not sound like some old guy who said, yeah, we walked 5 miles through the snow to school and we liked it that way. I'm sorry. It's just, but it will sound like that at times. But as I note the differences between then and now. But back then, in the 60s, a lot of people, I wasn't alone in this, but we only found each other, years later, but individually here and there, all over the place, a lot of us were all responding to the same combination of influences, and for one reason or another, it said, I think I'll build a guitar. The 60s were very permissive, very supportive. If you could think it, you could probably do it. And so we went out and built guitars, but we had no source of materials, we had no books, we had no models, really, for what a handmade guitar could be. And most of us, well, yeah, I would say that most of us were, in the 60s, more influenced by electric guitar, steel string guitar, than by classical guitar, but the classical guitar was the one instrument that did have a history of being built by hand, and you could find, with a little research, going to the library, some simple explanation, maybe, or the encyclopedia, you could find an exploded view. You've all seen that view of the guitar. You could find that and a few other things that gave you a start. And,
Charles,
yeah.
What city were you in?
I was in Chicago.
You were in Chicago.
I was in Chicago. Actually, I'll be a little more specific to how, everybody's got their own story on this, of course, but I was studying briefly. I studied flamenco guitar. And to do that, I went to a place called the Sherry Brunner Studio. And I mentioned the name of it because back at that time, just in case anybody remembers, Sherry Brunner was the importer of all of the Spanish handmade guitars that we saw in America. And I didn't know that. I just looked through the yellow pages and found flamenco lessons available on the south side, and there I was, or wherever it was. But I went in there and I had my little lessons, and it still hadn't occurred to me to make a guitar, but the flamenco guitar really, I don't know if it's available yet as a student model instrument. I suppose it's popular enough now that Spanish factories are making flamenco guitars. But certainly back then, you couldn't find anything but a handmade flamenco guitar. And it was from Spain, and although the prices back then look pretty attractive now, it was way beyond my means to buy a handmade Spanish guitar as this kid, who wanted to learn flamenco guitar. But I saw some of the best just because I happened to find my way to this importer of great guitars. And so there on the wall were the Bernabés and they were all there. And I could see them. I didn't know what I was looking at, of course, but I appreciated that they were something special. But my background was fine arts. I went to the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. Then I went to a couple of years, got my master's degree in studio arts at Northwestern University. So to me, to pick up some materials and fashion them, or to manipulate the world in that way, wasn't too big a leap. It was audacious. It was arrogant perhaps, but not unnatural. Do a sculpture, do some jewelry, I could move stuff around. So I just decided, well, I see these things and I can't have one, I'll make one. And and perhaps that was also influenced by the fact that they just happened to have at this place a few fretboards, a few backs and sides and things. I think just for the repair trade, because I don't know of anybody who was actually building guitars from these things. But it was there, and but for that I probably never would have got started. It was kind of easy for me in that sense, But I did. I bought parts and pieces, and there were people there who I guess would have encouraged me in this. I don't really recall, but maybe I could ask some questions of people. Anyway, I fashioned a guitar. I made it. I loved doing it, and I was doing other things for a living. And there was no market for guitars. I mean, the thought of doing this for a living was, well, you didn't have that thought. There was no model for this. There was no example of that in your life, of somebody who's doing this. It was a hobby, or it was, just your own private thing that you did. But I made another, and I made another, and this is all the old, on the proverbial, but literal, kitchen table. I didn't have a shop or anything. We hear about people today. A number of people, I see more people than I would normally, than a craftsman would in their shop because I teach. And people come to me and tell me the damnedest things about how they built their first guitar. I've heard more than once of the people building their first guitar in their college dorm room. I can't, where they sleep, I wouldn't sleep in my shop. But resourcefulness, well, so that's my little story in terms of how I built my first guitar and how I got drawn into it. And then it just hit me hard that this is a wonderful thing. It probably didn't hurt that we are the guitar generation, and this was a time when the guitar was just preeminent. The guitar was the siren. It was the voice through which we spoke, really, not individually, but the music of the 60s was the message. And it was all, of course, guitar was central to all of that.